of the CFL regular season, and after a wild ending in Montreal, the Roughriders will be playing in the Western semifinal, when the Stampeders are looking to close out their season on the high. Sask, Calgary coming up.
Wearing my single action piece for all the honest world to see. Quick draw, everybody call me the gunslinger southpaw. Ain't no time for run, 'cause you never saw me come. I could be dangerous, I could be famous. Hide my name, baby, in all of the papers, saying I'm wanted by the law and every woman. Yeah, they call me the southpaw.
So nearly everyone on the Saskatchewan Roughriders roster was a game-time decision tonight, and after the Bombers' victory, there were a lot of changes to this depth chart, including at quarterback. It was going to be Trevor Harris, but surprise, surprise, now we have Shea Patterson. On the flip side, not a ton of positives for the Stampeders this season, but Reggie Bagleton, a bright spot. For the third straight season, the receiver, the team's nominee for most outstanding player. And you know what? They would love a road win, because as you just mentioned, Milt Stegall, that is something they have not done all season long. And for the final time for this regular season, it's the panel. Enoch Mwamba, Jim Barker, Milt Stegall, everything officially set in the CFL. But with 10 seconds, I was going to say minutes, but it was seconds. It was absolutely wild to go in the first game, Milt. My goodness, things change so quickly. Mother Nature takes over. All of a sudden, the Bombers win, and all these guys that were watching this game that thought that they were playing are now sitting, and you've got a bunch of guys who thought they would be sitting, and they're playing.
Yep.
How does this even work out?
It's not a easy transition because they thought they probably weren't going to be playing for have the opportunity to win the West. They were so close.
Game.
They were right there. But now you have to adjust because you're still paid to go out there and play. And you don't want to be the only team that allows Calgary to get that road victory. They haven't won a road game all season. If they get this one, they get it. So you still have to go out there and play hard and realize you are a professional athlete.
But Saskatchewan is looking forward to next week, and they just want to get out of here healthy. For Calgary, they're trying to take a look at some players. Guys are trying to make a roster somewhere in the league next year. But this is a glorified preseason game.
Exactly what it is, a glorified preseason game. And some guys in Calgary are trying to earn jobs for next year and hopefully stay on the same team so that they can, better themselves for next season.
Guys, we were this close. We were this close. 10 seconds. Sergio, you see how he misses the first field goal, and then he makes the second, and then this one would have had meaning to it. But both these teams wanting to end on the right note. We will get you to Mosaic right after this.
I should have been an outlaw, ready for a quick draw. Everybody call me the gunslinger southpaw. Ain't no time for run, 'cause you never saw me come. I could be dangerous, I could be famous. Hide my name, baby, in all of the papers, saying I'm wanted by the law and every woman.
Welcome to Regina for the 81st and final game of the CFL regular season. The Stampeders roll into town to face the Riders for the second time this year. Calgary has not won since August 4th. Will miss the playoffs for the first time in 18 seasons. The Riders on the other side, they know a week from today they'll be hosting BC. They're going to rest Trevor Harris.
Corey Mace had two plans for this game. Plan A was if the Bombers lost. Plan B was if they won. They won, so it'll be Shea Patterson. 5 starts on the season. He is 2-3-1 for the Riders this year. And Jake Mayer will get the start for the Calgary Stampeders. Plays very well here at Mosaic Stadium. In fact, he's been a starter in Calgary for 44 games. He's played here twice, won both of them.
Calgary Stampeders and their head coach Dave Dickinson still looking for their first road win of the season. Have not been able to find one just yet. Riders heating up. 4 wins in a row, 5-4 versus the West this year. Calgary will get the ball first as they look to wrap up their season on a high note. And on the other side, the Riders hope to stay healthy and get set for what should be a beauty against the Lions next weekend. We are underway at Mosaic. And it's Logan on the return, takes it up close to the 40, just beyond, and we'll get a look at Jake Mayer to get us started.
17-26-1 is Jake Mayer's record overall, but against the Saskatchewan Roughriders in his last 6, he's 4-2. And I mentioned, likes to play here at Mosaic Stadium, likes to try and quiet the crowd here at Mosaic. 2-0 as a starter in Calgary.
Over 72% completion rate on his passes, 19 touchdowns, 14 picks, but he's 4-9-1. This is start 15. He'll start it on the ground with Dedrick Mills, and Mills pushes ahead out beyond the 45. Obviously, Mills a big piece of this Calgary offense.
Sean McEwen up front has been their leader in the offensive line, a guy who just does not make mental mistakes, and is the guy that's the quarterback of that O-line when it comes to protection. Another 1,000-yard season for Reggie Begelton, and could be very proud, even though this team did not make the playoffs this year. First time neither Alberta teams made it in the history of the league, but Begelton did his thing. Another 1,000-yard season, his 3rd.
Catch today, and we'll give him a reception in 70 in a row. Here's Mayer over the middle, and that is caught, tackle broken, pushing ahead and lunging towards a first down, Jalen Philpott.
Philpott on the crossing route. Nice waggle to the line of scrimmage. This is a game that Calgary can just cut loose and play. They know they've got 6 months to get ready and prepare and try to regroup, train, and see where they land next year. There'll be obviously lots of changes for the Calgary Stampeders in the offseason, but they can just cut it loose. And if you get nicked up in this game, it's okay. You've got 6 months to heal.
62nd catch of the year for Philpott. Now they'll get it out to Markin Michel. Had to fake back for it a little bit and could not get back up to the original line of scrimmage. That'll be a loss of a couple.
Take a look at the Saskatchewan defense. Malik Carney, a starter throughout most of the season, but coming off injury, so they want to see him play a little bit at least before the playoff game. A.J. Allen has earned the right to get a start as Corey Mace plays some backup. Deontay Williams will play in for Roland Milligan. Yeah, it's a good idea to sit the MLP candidate.
Make sure that guy is ready for the BC Lions in the postseason. 2nd and 12 here for Mayer. Dumps it off. Out, that's bubbled and incomplete, in and out of the hands of Mills. Has 29 catches on the season. Not sure-handed enough to haul that one in.
Calgary Stampeders have not won a road game all season long. So there's a lot of demons they would like to exercise in this game tonight.
Struggled on the road the last couple of seasons. Cody Grace called into duty for the first time today. Lets it fly from just inside his own 40. A shorter kick that's taken on the far side by Mario Alford, and he will step out of bounds. Shea Patterson gets the call today as Trevor Harris watches on and waits for the postseason. He'll have Hurts first crack at it when we return. Welcome back to Mosaic, where you don't really want to simplify it too much, but
yeah,
here's why these two teams are where they are right now.
Yeah, there's the playoff team looking to host the BC Lions in the West semifinal at plus 25. That's more takeaways than any team in the league. And Calgary at the very other end of that scale at minus 22, which is, you know, just in the valley compared to last year, even when they were plus 9.
Patterson starts in his own 36. Quick completion out just shy of the 45.
So valuable reps for a lot of different players in this Saskatchewan lineup as Corey Mace goes to plan B. Shea Patterson gets some more reps. I mentioned his 5 starts this year, 2, 3, and 1. Last 2 games were versus Edmonton and Ottawa. Threw for almost 600 yards, or just over 600 yards in those 2 games. Trevor Harris will keep the Toucan and watch.
You have to give Patterson credit for keeping it on the rails early when Trevor Harris went out. They didn't completely fall apart. This will help Hickson up to midfield with his first touch of the ball game.
Yeah, A.J. Ouellette was plan A for Corey Mace. Plan B was Frankie Hickson, so Frankie Hickson gets a start. We won't see Sam Emelis. Keon Schaefer-Baker also sitting. So some younger players. Hickson not necessarily one of them, but younger players in the receiving corps will get a chance to get some reps. There's Ouellette.
Calgary's defense allowing almost 130 yards on the ground per game. Dead last in the Canadian Football League. Fresh set of downs from the 54. Out to his running back again, but that one misses the hands of Hickson.
Offensive line right in the middle of the pack in sacks allowed, but a big improvement over last year for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Didn't highlight anybody because they're healthy, they're back and playing together. This put in Hunchak because Hunchak is playing for Sam Emelis. No Keon Schaefer-Baker. That'll be Picton. Robustelli gets a chance to play, who's on the practice roster, and Hickson in for A.J. Ouellette.
Hunchak, of course, spending the majority of his career with the Calgary Stampeders on the other side of the ball. Patterson from the pocket, down the field, has a completion at the 35. And that'll get him on the board. Jareth Stearns, most experienced in the lineup today.
Yeah, it really is. To the left of your screen, and Stearns is the layer. There's a underneath layer, a shorter route. That was Duncan Busby underneath, and then Stearns in that deeper layer right in front of the safety, Bentley Sanders.
Stearns has had some moments this year at a 100-yard game. In fact, 7 different players have had 100-yard receiving games for this Riders offense. Stampeders show some heat. Now they're going to run it near side. Be a short pickup on first down for Hickson.
Jalen Hutchings is going to play defensive tackle, and they've gone through quite the rotation there. Cale Dava, Charles Wiley, Josiah Coatney. Hutchings gets a chance to play in that spot. Cam Judge, 2-time nominee for the Calgary Stampeders. And in the secondary, how about Trey Robertson with a pick 6 in a game that Calgary wasn't their best effort against Hamilton, but Robertson had that nice play against Bo Levi Mitchell.
4 interceptions on the season for Robertson. Patterson, pressure in his face, gets it away. They've got another first down. And those Riders continue to march here. That's the former Stampeder, Colton Hunchak, hauling it in.
That was basically a blitz pickup by Shea Patterson to get it to the hot route. Hunchak on the inside. He just tapped his helmet like he needs after this hit to just regroup on the sideline for a second. In fact, he'll take a knee. And with a lot of the guys sitting, Corey Mace is going to have to be careful, and the entire coaching staff, make sure they have the right players out there, the right number of players, the right players for the formation and play call. Plan B in full effect. And I know it's really not right or wrong. A lot of coaches approach these kind of games differently. Some of them want to play their starters for a quarter, some for a half, keep them fresh. I like the way Corey Mace is doing it. This is exactly the way I would do it. There is no way I want to put Trevor Harris in harm's way, even with a follow through and hitting a helmet, wrecking his thumb for the semifinal. Like
every rep's an opportunity to get injured.
Yeah, too risky, and the most important game is next week.
We saw Toronto last night. Coxie took that big hit from Nick Anderson.
Exactly.
And I think that was a big enough scare. They're like, okay, we'll just let him sit and watch the rest of the game. So the Riders sitting a lot of their big guns on offense this afternoon. Patterson works from the Calgary 21. Steps up on the run to his right, looking for somebody. Goes down the field, almost intercepted, but it ends up incomplete. Looking for Duncan Busby.
risky throw for Shea Patterson, and you know, one of the guys that has had another good season. Just because you're out of the playoffs doesn't mean that there weren't players that had great seasons, and Cameron Judge is one of them. He's over there around the ball all the time. Nominated for 2 awards for the Calgary Stampeders this year. Just missed that tip.
Ben LaBrosse in the mix there in coverage as well.
Nice find for Calgary there. He's going to have a very bright future. Number 2-9.
Extremely athletic. 2nd and 10. Hickson will flare out to the right for Patterson. He's going to look for an end zone shot instead. No! Almost laying out for it there. That would have been spectacular for your first CFL catch for Joe Robustelli.
Well, he went after it, gave it a college try, as we used to say, trying to run this down. It was a deep zone defense, and DeMario Houston, even though he had the deep outside third and is a veteran, gets beat. I mean, Robustelli in behind him. Just the back half of the ball. What an effort.
Lother, 29-yarder. And that one is up and through. He's hit 21 in a row. Robustelli that close to his first CFL catch and touchdown. It's been a long, rough year away from home for the Calgary Stampeders. 0-8 on the road, being outscored by about 15 points per game.
Yeah, tough year, and a year where it snaps a playoff run of 18 years for the Calgary Stampeders. Will not make the playoffs. They have never gone an entire season ever without winning at least one road game.
Trying to keep that streak alive here today. Trailing 3-0 early and work on their 40 on the ground. And a decent push ahead for about 4 yards on first down into the hands of Dedrick Mills, who's averaging 5.6 yards per carry this season.
By the way, that 18-year playoff run, 11 of those were West Finals.
Well, that's not bad percentages.
Yeah, I mean, this has just been back-to-back years that just a head scratcher for Calgary football, really.
2nd and 6, 3 options to the left, 3 to the wide side right. Riders are going to bring some pressure. Jake down the field looking for Beggleton, comes back to it. No, broken up. Reggie Beggleton came back around to that ball, but could not corral it with C.J. Rivas hot on his tail.
Yeah, you know, this was a little underthrown. It was pressure coming, so Jake Mayer just wanted to try to beat the blitz with a deep throw to Beggleton. It was underthrown, so if Rivas would have tracked the ball, but because Beggleton was in behind Rivas, he wanted to catch this receiver, his man first, and then turn, and just couldn't pull it down.
Grace kicks it away. Alfred waits, bounces right at the 34 and out of bounds. Shea Patterson with a 3-0 lead will have the ball when we return to Mosaic. Well, it's been a tough season for the Calgary Stampeders, but some of these players have been recognized, and Cam Judge, defensive and most outstanding Canadian.
Yeah, good season for Cam Judge. Led his team in defensive tackles with 72. Led his team in tackles for losses. Often if he's playing against a quarterback like Trey Ford, for instance, he will be the guy that Dave Dickinson asked to spy. A good athletic running quarterback.
Got some nice artwork on those arms too. Do you have any tattoos, Suits?
Yeah, no, not I don't. But
neither do I. But do you do? Because I'm too much of a wimp. I think it would hurt too much.
Let's do it together.
Would you want to get a full sleeve?
Great Cup week. We'll go in and get tattoos. What are you going to get? Think about it.
Yeah, I'll think about it.
He's got some good ink on him. Of course, he's got the sleeves on tonight, but
it's not too bad. temperature-wise, I mean, we could have worse late Octobers in Regina. We can get this next Saturday.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, put a request in.
Yeah, that'd be okay. Here's Patterson over the middle, a little bit high, and it falls incomplete. Looking for Hunchak again, who is fine. He left the game briefly earlier, but couldn't haul that one in.
Yeah, Colton Hunchak should have had that. I think Shea Patterson really had to throw it that high. You see Cam Judge sitting underneath that throw, and number 4 has got some interceptions in his career, so you know, he had to put it up there outside of the reach of Cam Judge, and where Colton had a chance at it, just went through his hands.
Korczak set to kick it away, got it away just in time, and that'll be taken just outside the 20 by Logan, and steps out of bounds at the 35. When we return, we will have more on that man. 3-time nominee, Roland Milligan with Britt Dort. What a season for Roland Milligan Jr. If he played offensive line, he'd probably be nominated for that too. For more, let's send it down to Britt Dort.
Yeah, it kind of feels like what isn't he nominated for at this point? Head coach Corey May said that. He goes, I've never seen this. 3 nods for one guy, and especially because he only plays one special team. However, he definitely deserves it. When I talked to Roland Milligan about the season he's having, he said, not only is this my best year of football I've ever played, it's also one of the most fun I've ever played because I'm excited to see the work and basically the risks I've been taking finally pay off. So he is having a boatload of fun out there, probably enjoying a little bit on the sidelines here tonight. Best quote, though, about it, guys, when we talked to Trevor Harris about the 3 nominations, he said, yeah, he's kind of an award hog, don't you guys think?
We did play that well. Great sign there that we saw, too. Yeah. Milligan intercepted the cool sign. That was good.
8 interceptions, 71 defensive tackles from the halfback spot, 111 defensive plays, and oh, by the way, 20 special teams tackles. Like,
pretty solid campaign.
Well, it's, you know, and I agree with Corey Mace. I've never seen it either.
Calgary.
I've been racking my brain trying to think if anyone's ever been a special team nominee and an MOP nominee, and I don't think it's ever happened. And you know, we can ask Steve Daniel at the league office to check that out for us, but he just, his anticipation this year, playing with great confidence, baiting quarterbacks, even veteran quarterbacks like Bo Levi Mitchell, baiting them to think that their receiver is open and then breaking downhill. 8 interceptions, as I mentioned. Just an outstanding playmaker, and one of the big reasons that the team leads in takeaways with that plus 25.
Nice looking jacket on the sideline there too. Here's Mayer on the run to his right down the field. One hops it in to Markin Michelle, and that'll bring up 2nd and 10. Now here's a look at the numbers that he put up this year. I mean, just absolutely outstanding work. He did not have 33 interceptions. I'll correct that. He had 8 interceptions. Yep, but it might have felt like 33 to quarterbacks around the league.
Yeah. Well, and you know, Corey Mace, I think, has told us throughout the last couple of months that he's tried to encourage him to speak more. But when he does speak, you know, from a leadership position, the guys listen.
4 receivers out to the right for Jake Mayer. Looks down the middle, throws down the middle, almost intercepted at midfield. Lacombo would have been his first of the year. That'll bring up 3rd and 10, and Calgary be forced to kick it away again.
Nelson Lacombo, you know, that season, high expectations, and ended up with an Achilles injury that slowed his journey and his progress, but he's played in over 30 games now and still looking for his first interception, and almost had it there. Once you get the 1, they come in bunches. Just ask Roland Milligan.
Yeah, once you get rolling, it works. High kick this time. Alford waits and takes at the 27. Can he find space? No. Calgary Stampeders, they're going to miss the playoffs. This game kind of means nothing. So what's Dave Dickinson evaluating? Let's find out.
anytime you're in a rough patch, it's going to expose a lot of things, true character. You get to know a guy, and a lot of guys talk. Let's see who actually performs, and same with everything else, is who can keep their composure, their poise. Because there's really nothing to play for except for pride, and see how much pride matters to certain people.
Love it.
It's a good line.
Yeah, I mean, let's see how much pride matters, and who is going to try and mail it in here, and who isn't.
A bobble, the ball pops loose, still loose on the far sideline, and eventually batted out of bounds by the Riders.
You can see by the reaction of Cam Judge on this play as it just ended, the type of season that this Calgary Stampeder team has had. Here's an opportunity to turn the ball over on what looked like a pitch.
Ruling on the field because we have a fumble. Last touch by Saskatchewan. It'll be second down.
And as they're trying to scramble to get to it, all you have to do is bat it out of bounds. That's definitely a fumble. That's a lateral going backwards. Voders has a shot. They're trying to get there, recover it, and then if you can't recover it, tip it out of bounds. Demario Houston is right next to him, and Cam Judge, number 4, gets up shaking his head going, that's what it's been like all season long. Come on.
Jareth Stearns got his hands on that one. Calgary will send 3. Patterson with time. Deep shot down the field. Just inside the 35. No. Laid it out there. Looking for Robustelli again. He couldn't hang on to it.
Well, Robustelli, the one thing I've noticed, he's had a shot at a couple of deep balls here, but that's a nice route. That's a start. Now he's got to finish these plays. He had a chance here. That one was right there, if not for the hit from the safety Bentley Sanders. But Robustelli's got a couple things. 2 nice routes he's run. Some really good speed. He's tracked the ball down. He's just got to finish those plays now.
Made that move on Roberson as well.
Yeah.
That was Roberson who was in chase. Korshak lays it out there. Logan takes it cleanly just outside the 25. Will not find any space. The return about 10 yards. Well, an interesting story here with Robustelli from the practice roster to the main roster for this game. He is the grandson of Andy Robustelli, New York Giants legend, went into the Hall of Fame back in '71. 6-time first team All-Pro, 2 NFL championships, and obviously it's in the bloodline.
Well, he can run now. He's got some good top-end speed.
Mir out to Mills. That is going to be ruled incomplete.
Is that Marcus Sales coming from outside in on that hit? It's a little timing issue for Mayer. He did his best to get it to Mills as quickly as he could. It is Marcus Sales. He's played a great second half to the season. 11 passes defended, 4 interceptions for Sales on the year, and 56 defensive tackles. That's a lot from the wide side corner spot.
He's kind of quietly had a really nice season out there. A lot of talk about Milligan and what he's done and the way that the Riders play defense against the run, but Sales has had a nice year at that corner spot. Mayer now down the field, far side, lays it up, and that one hauled in. Clark Barnes went up and got it, and the Stampeders are in business.
So this is the difference. This is a guy with a little more experience. This is Clark Barnes, who's made these plays in games throughout the season. And talking about Robustelli and what the next step he's got to take. He's down the field, he tracks the ball, he's just got to finish, and Barnes does finish. Wins the jump ball, rips it away, and down he goes. Nice.
Goes up over top of Amari Henderson and says, thank you very much, I'll take that. And they now work from the Rider 33. Mayer had Marco Michel on the flat, looks to the end zone instead, lays it in there, they got it. Touchdown Calgary, back to Barnes, and he finds the end zone, his 4th touchdown of the season.
Took a while to develop, but it's a heck of a throw from Jake Mayer to be retreating and just sling this. He's retreating because of the pressure coming at him off the edge from C.J. Rivas. He's got a crossing post route to Clark Barnes, and he drops it in the bucket to get it to him. Said he likes playing here.
Oh, yeah, Clark. Yes, sir. 20th passing touchdown of the season for Jake Mayer. Paredes out to tack on one more. That's exactly what he does. Stampeders lead 7-3. Barnes has put together a 500-yard season. He might hit 600 by the end of today. 73 yards on those last 2 catches for Clark Barnes.
Wide side of the field, there's Clark Barnes, and this is why the throw is so good. He's got to track that post all the way across the face of the safety and Nelson Lacombo. Get out there, and Jake Mayer's got to try and wait for him to get there as he's retreating away from the blitz. Puts enough air on it so Barnes can track it down like a center fielder, and Lacombo just undercuts it a little bit. By the looks of the reaction from Nelson Lacombo, he thought there was another deep player over there.
Somebody was over there as well, yeah. Well, Barnes with his 4th touchdown of the year. Philpott's got 3. Bagleton has 4. Cam Eccles has 3. And Markin Michel leads the team with 5 receiving touchdowns. Jareth Stearns back with Mario Alford to return this kick.
I know what you're kicking, dude.
And that'll be taken by Alford. Back to the 40, pushes it ahead. Decent return, takes it out close to the 45 for Shea Patterson.
The one thing that Corey Mace wants, though, even though he's got a lot of backup players in there and a lot of new guys and his backup quarterback, he still wants to see and maintain the standard. This is a team that has won 4 straight games and would love to go into that semifinal against the Lions after beating them 39-8 last week, to go into the semifinal with tons of momentum. And, that could be slowed if they don't respond here tonight, even though I know there's lots of backups out there, but you want to maintain the standard. You're on the roster for a reason.
They have not won 5 in a row to wrap up the season since 1970. They can do that with a victory here today. A.J. Ouellette loving it as Frankie Hickson picks up a 1st down on the ground.
And Hickson's more than capable. I mean, he's a breakaway guy. Nice jump cut to get to the outside and outrun the angle of Cam Judge.
Hickson coming into the game, 91 carries, 438 yards, averaging 4.8 yards per carry, and 1 touchdown on the season. Does have a 100-yard game under his belt. Calgary's going to show some pressure. They're going to hand it off. Hickson runs into a wall at the 50 and is smashed back down by Jalen Hutchings. First quarter in the books. Calgary Stampeders, who have not won on the road this season, lead 7-3. Calgary Stampeders leading 7-3 after the first quarter. They're actually 1-7-1 when they lead after the first quarter this year. Yeah, turn the ball over a lot. They haven't done that yet in this one.
Yeah, that's the reason that they lost a lot of those games that they started out pretty well in. And, when you turn the ball over too many times, it comes back and haunts you. But, again, this is a tricky game for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. A lot of guys are playing that weren't expecting to play, and they're trying not to get hurt, which is something you really can't do. Now, the starting O-line is on the field. They do have Stearns, the veteran, and as we mentioned earlier, Shea Patterson has played a bunch. But Corey Mace, it's you can say, hey, play with full intensity and don't think about not getting hurt. but they're all human, and it creeps in. That's the challenge for the Riders. Put on a show for their home crowd.
Work from the Calgary 50. Patterson bouncing around the pocket. Out on the run to his right. He's got to hurry. Pressure coming. And they'll track him down. He throws it away just as he was grabbed by Vaughters. And there will be a flag at the end of the play.
Well, if it's behind the line of scrimmage, which it was, it's intentional grounding because there was no receivers unless he was trying to get it to A.J. Oled, who's not dressed.
Intentional grounding, yeah. Saskatchewan, number 5. Penalty is a loss of down, be 3rd down.
Good push up the middle by Hutchings. It's a couple plays for him to create some havoc in that Saskatchewan offensive line. You saw the tackle on 1st down, and then that play to flush Shea Patterson out of the pocket.
Korczak, 47.5 an average for him punting this season. Peyton Logan will wait down on his own 12-yard line for Calgary. Gets to step into this one a little bit and takes it just inside the 20. Logan pushing ahead, staying on his feet momentarily, and eventually they'll track him down and take him down. Jake Mayer, 4 of 9, 75 yards and a touchdown in the first quarter.
Good conversation with Jake Mayer this week leading into this game, and I think it was you who asked him, Dustin, about where he felt the season turned for them.
Yes.
And you know, asked Dave Dickinson the same question, and both answers were exactly the same, right around Labor Day. You know, they were still in the fight at that point. Had a losing record, but still in the fight. And Labor Day and the rematch, 9 interceptions thrown, 4 by Jake Mayer on Labor Day, and then Logan Bonner got the start in the rematch and threw 5. And you know, Dave Dickinson mentioned that we just all of a sudden forgot about ball security, and that's not really been an issue for Jake Mayer. I mean, there's other things I know Calgary fans have been concerned with, and making the big play down the field has been one of them, but it hasn't really been interceptions, and then he threw 4 in that game and got pulled for the next one.
They'll flip it ahead to Eccles. Eccles trying to find some space. He will not, upended just outside the 40 on 2nd down.
It was a good effort by Cam Eccles because it looked like he was caught for a big loss. He made something out of nothing there. He made an omelet coming around the corner, because that was Micah Johnson that pushed him way deep. Another good year for Micah Johnson. Quietly leading this team with sacks, 6 quarterback sacks. Hasn't had one since August, but you know he's gearing up for a big semifinal against the BC Lions.
Grace hangs this one up there. Alford takes it just inside the 15, and he had nowhere to go. Immediately ran into some traffic. Nick Stats with the special teams tackle. Shea Patterson getting in some late season reps. We are about to crank it up a notch next week, starting with the East Division semifinal. Red Blacks and Argos, 2 o'clock Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on TSN and CTV. And then we will be back here in Regina for the Riders and Lions at Mosaic, 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 Pacific. 2 great games with the Alouettes and the Bombers waiting for winners.
We could just stay here all week, get tattoos.
And I am really not buying into the tattoo thing. I just, that's not my life. I don't think I can pull it off.
Okay.
Here's Patterson down the field, lays it out there, and is that hauled in on the far sideline? Looking for Del Duncan Busby. What a catch.
Again, in behind what looked like a zone defense, and this time it's Kobe Williams that gets caught short looking at the quarterback, but was he Was he in bounds?
That toe on the line.
Caught there. I think they're talking about it right now. Nice catch over the shoulder.
They will rule it incomplete, which it was.
The ruling on the field is an incomplete pass. Be second down.
First-year rider out of Bemidji State. Born in Vancouver.
Well, he's played the last couple of games, so he's been a guy who's worked his way into the starting lineup, not playing in this game to rest a veteran. But Sam Emilus, another 1,000-yard season for Emilus.
Coming into this game, Duncan Busby had actually caught all 15 passes that were thrown in his direction.
And he caught that one, too. He was just
get his hands on it. Just, all these guys, this is not just game film that's going to be tossed aside. And on the Calgary Stampeders side, the Stampeders and other teams around the league will be using it to evaluate in the offseason. Pressure in the face of Patterson. Lays it out near side, bouncing up and incomplete. Was looking for Bertrand Houdon and was wobbling in there, and he couldn't hang on. 3rd and 10.
Pressure coming from the Calgary Stampeders on 2nd down. See Cam Judge going out to the flat. He's got coverage. It's man-to-man with full blitz. One being Bailey Devine Scott.
Kobe Williams, the free man there, initiating the pressure on Patterson. Of course, that called back in to kick it away again. Good field position shaping up here as Logan takes it at the 51, all the way back down to the Rider 45. So Jake Mayer, best field position to start a drive today for the Calgary Stampeders quarterback. More on him with Britt when we return. There's a look at Jake Mayer as the quarterback of the Calgary Stampeders. What happens in his future? For more, let's send it down to Britt Dorley.
Well, we asked Dave Dickinson, what do you want to see from your quarterback in this final game of the season? And he said, honestly, I just want to see him be confident and have some fun out there, but I also want to watch him take some risks. He'd like to see the ball get out of his hands a little bit faster. Talked to Jake Mayer about the final game of the season, and he said, you know, it gives me a chance to get out there and basically do something cool. And that's basically as simple as it was. He said, I have one more shot this season to be the starting quarterback for this team, and I want to go out there and take some risks, just like Dave told me. He did say, there's a lot on the line. I still want to win, because he said it's about moral victories, and you won the end of season on a win because it's a long off season.
He hands it off there, and we've talked about it on multiple broadcasts. The quarterback movement that we could possibly see around the league. This was a team, and Dave Dickinson and Huffnagel move on from Bo Levi Mitchell, give the job to Jake, and it seems like they're still sort of figuring out what's going to happen in that position.
Yeah, the simplest way to kind of break it down is if you don't make the playoffs, change is coming.
Yeah, fair enough. And it should, right?
And the starting quarterback is completely attached to the head coach.
2nd and 8 for Mayer. Gets it to Reggie Beggleton, and he's got a catch in 70 straight ball games. He's also got himself a first down.
Yeah, you can watch this guy play football, you know, no matter what the score is, no matter what the situation for his football team with regards to the playoffs, it doesn't matter. You're getting the full deal from 84 every play.
Another 1,000-yard season, 3 now in his career.
And 70 in a row.
Yep.
With a catch.
5th in the league in receiving yards coming into this game. 1st and 10 from the 34. Gets it away quickly to Barnes again. Ooh, that didn't look that good, did it?
Did the splits or something?
That right leg. Ooh. Lucky he's flexible.
You know, what Brett was mentioning with Jake Mayer, maybe taking some risks in this one. You know, I think that's been one of the things that Stampeder fans have been, disappointed with that this offense didn't take some more shots.
That's really weird the way he's put leg bent underneath there.
Got up and ran off. Well, he'll watch from the sideline for now as they hand it off. Mills will spin move, pushes it down just outside the 10. Really nice pickup on first down for Dedrick Mills.
But that play to Clark Barnes for the touchdown, that's what we're talking about. Those type of plays, he's retreating on his back heel and lobs it up to a receiver streaking across the middle on a post route. I mean, that's a play that can be intercepted quite easily. But he took a chance and it worked out. They scored a touchdown.
His 20th passing touchdown of the season. 2nd and 3 here. Will they go on the ground again? They do. Pushing it ahead is Mills. And he was stopped short. Could this be a job for Tommy Stevens, maybe?
Well, let's see where they mark it. But I have a feeling that Dave Dickinson doesn't want to really settle for field goals at this part of the field.
Just going to leave Jake in there.
Playoff game, different circumstances. He's taking the points here, but on the field goal. But you're on the doorstep in a game that doesn't change the standings. You're out. Go for it.
They need a couple of yards.
We'll try and draw him offside and see if we get a free one.
3 options out to the right for Mir. Looks to his left, throws to his left towards the end zone. Was that hauled in? Yes, touchdown! And what a touchdown it was! Eccles pulls it into the back of the end zone.
Taking a risk. Going for the back of the end zone with a safety back there. Just taking a risk. Throwing as he's fading away from the pressure. Safety's back in the middle. That's Nelson Lacombo. Got the foot in. Nice catch by Eccles.
4th touchdown of the season for Eccles.
And it's not like, when you look at the Calgary season, Dave Dickinson hasn't tried to find those big playmakers. Eccles been on and off due to injury. Ismail Hyman, Eric Brooks, B.J. Simmons, Trey Odoms-Dukes. Remember him back at the beginning of the season?
Right.
Missed the entire year.
He's a good player. Paredes puts it through in the lead for the Stampeders. Is 11. Jake Mir, 113 yards. Couple of touchdown passes. Eccles with style hauls that one in.
Three receivers to the wide side of the field, and Nelson Lacombo at the safety wants to help on that side. This is Eccles who gets the touchdown eventually, but watch how Lacombo wants to go, and the third receiver doesn't come out. He just blocks, so Lacombo gets caught shallow, has to speed turn to try and get out of there, or open up his hips, I should say, to try and get back to Eccles. Doesn't get there in time, and Dave Dickinson saying, that's what I'm talking about. Take some shots down the field.
Approval from the coach. Paredes booms it away. Alford at the 10, back to the 20. And he is taken down before he can get up to the 30. Well, maybe we shouldn't be surprised that Jake Mir's putting together a nice first half here.
Likes to play here, 2-0 here in his career as a starter in Calgary. A nice play to Philpott, who was well covered. Another, you notice that pretty good coverage on all those throws, and he was pushing it, aggressive when he plays here in Mosaic.
They'd say there's something about winning in this stadium as a visiting quarterback, and he'd like to snap this losing skid on the road here as well. Riders from their own 27. Pressure gets it away. Caught at the 30, up to the 35, and there's a catch for Joe Robustelli.
There's a way to get him involved on the quick in route. Blitz coming. So blitz goes right down the middle. That's Marquel Lee playing a little linebacker for Micah Alway. He provides the pressure, number 50. But that was a little hitch screen. Uh-oh. Got a jam finger now.
Just move it around and pop it back in place, I guess, eh? Ugh. Take that glove off and get a better look at it. You come off the practice roster, the last thing you want to do is get banged up in an opportunity, put some action on tape for yourself.
He'll be back. Tape one to the other. You're good to go.
Use the strength of the other finger to help the weak one.
Yeah, exactly.
Got 8 yards, so it's 2nd and 2. They'll give it to Hickson. Hickson will push it ahead, and that'll be a first down for the Roughriders. Frankie Hickson. Whenever we see Frankie Hickson, I always say, man, I kind of like Frankie Hickson. He had a little bit of a bobble earlier in the game that they eventually batted out of bounds. But as far as backups around the league that you can rely on, I think Frankie Hickson has to be pretty high on the list.
Yeah, there's no question. I mean, Frankie Hickson, they also have Requel Armstead as well, who by playoff time should be healthy. And A.J. Ouellette coming off the 6-game injured list last week had over 80 yards. So that run game is poised to be ready for the playoffs.
Patterson puts some zip on that one. Just inside the 50, it'll be hauled in.
It will be an interesting matchup, Saskatchewan against the BC Lions. And, you know, I think the run game for Saskatchewan's offense is going to be very important. Even, you know, with the veteran Trevor Harris, who's averaging about 300 yards a game since he has been back from injury and playing outstanding in this 4-game win streak. But, you know, I think balance in that offense against the Lions defense is important. I mean, we say it every year, and it's important to every team, but he's a great pocket passer. Give him a little play action to give him that extra second, and he can make you pay. He can pick you apart.
Harris missed 6 games in the last 8, as Suits mentioned. 299 yards per game, 14 touchdown passes over that stretch as well. On the year, 20 touchdowns, just 9 interceptions, 72.4%. One of the most accurate passers in the history of the league, and has the Riders playing pretty well right now. Patterson, 2nd and 1 from the 49. And he'll try to stretch it out to the right, and he gets tripped up and taken down. Demario Houston.
2 veteran corners for the Calgary Stampeders, combined for 9 interceptions on the season. And we talked to Dave Dickinson about the play of his corners. That's a nice way to shed the block, get that pad level down, take on the block with the right shoulder, so you keep the outside shoulder free and you don't lose containment.
Houston getting around Hunchak and getting enough of Patterson to take him down. So it's a loss of 2, 3rd and 4. They'll punt it away. Logan near sideline as it bounced out of bounds right in front of him with 4:09 on the clock here in the 2nd quarter. Calgary Stampeders leading 14-3. Crave presents the next chapter in the Batman saga, starring Academy Award nominee Colin Farrell, The Penguin, on HBO. Original limited series, streaming now only on Crave. The new episode will drop on Sunday nights.
Saw Colin Farrell on a talk show and thought, this is a guy I think I'd like to sit and have a beer with.
Yeah. Well, if you watch The Penguin, you won't. Mayer quickly knew where that ball was going immediately and got it into the hands of Philpott, who's a guy that I think they can still unlock more in this offense.
Yeah, absolutely. Now Philpott's got to stay healthy. I mean, at the end of the day, you have to be available. Just, you know, you have to be that Reggie Begelton. Now, injury can happen to anybody, and it's unlucky when it does, but Philpott's just got to stay healthy and stay available because, yeah, I mean, he and his brother, sky's the limit for those guys.
Philpott got 7, so they need 3 more from their own 37. Mayer from the pocket again, over the middle, back to Philpott, and he's got just enough for the first down with time ticking down to 3 minutes here at Mosaic.
Oh, crossing route. Mayer looks off the linebacker, C.J. Avery.
Four receivers to the left, flags as that ball is snapped.
They loaded the line of scrimmage. Riders were coming with a full blitz, and the play was going to be a bubble, or not a bubble screen, but a hitch screen out to Philpott, which would have got the ball out of Mayer's hands quickly. And now you got man-to-man blocking. That was a pretty good offensive play for that defense.
Procedure, Calgary, number 67. It's 5-yard penalty. We'll repeat first down. This is a 3-minute warning.
And the left guard, Zach Williams.
Zach Williams messed it up.
It was designed so well. We've hit 3 minutes in the first half.
Coming up at the half, we have much more on Randy Ambrosie's retirement announcement. And if you missed the earlier game, let me tell you about a finish. A woman named Mother Nature played a slight part.
That's the win.
Yeah, that looked insane. We were watching the end of that game, but we didn't have the sound on. And then we saw the weather change, and what is going on?
Rider fans were watching on the big screen here.
There is a course of boos at Mosaic when Castillo redeemed himself with that game winner. Back to the original line of scrimmage after that 5-yard penalty against Zach Williams. Still, though, playoffs in the West, well, East as well. We spend a lot of our time in the West. BC and Saskatchewan should be a phenomenal game.
Unreal.
And whoever comes out of that game certainly could be a stiff test for the Bombers in the West Final.
Bombers at home in the final. Brady Oliveira time.
It'll be that time of year, won't it? Mayer, pressure coming right up the middle, and he guns it out down to midfield. Great read from Jake there, and who else? Reggie Begelton. Why not? The veteran hauls it in.
A.J. Allen was right in the face of Jake Mayer. He comes straight down the A-gap, and Mayer, with him right in his face, says, I don't care, I'm slinging it. And there was coverage back there, 2 behind the receiver, linebacker in front of him. I mean, he's just cutting it loose tonight. Like Britt said, he wants to have a little fun in Mosaic.
Smack down to midfield. 6 wide for Mayer. Over the middle again. Begelton again. He's got it down just inside the 40. Ball pops out. Riders are going to say they're on it. And now we'll wait for a ruling.
Well, Begelton's fighting like he did fumble it. Philpott's fighting for his teammate. Try and get it back. See if it's out.
It is out. And the Riders take it away.
Another one.
C.J. Rivas comes in, punches it out.
Yeah, Rivas with the punch. Nelson Lacombo, first contact with the tackle. Nice forced fumble last week against BC in that win for Lacombo, and he was there to slow Begelton, and then it was punched out.
Jack Cohn now into the game at quarterback for the Riders. Wonder if we see him the rest of the way. And he starts with a completion to the near side to Picton, his second catch of the game. So we get a look at Cohn.
Notre Dame, 6'3". First CFL appearance. And A chance to feel game speed.
25 years old, getting a look here, gets it away quickly again, and he's got a first down as he goes right back to Picton, and the Riders creep towards Lother field goal range. Try to work quickly here. 3 receivers to his right. Calgary's going to bring some heat. Gets it away in time. Almost intercepted at the 50. Roberson looking for his 5th. Couldn't get down there low enough to grab it.
Trey Roberson gets up talking to Jack Cohn saying, could you throw it a little higher? You got to get it up there a little bit. That's exactly what he did. He got up, he looked at Cohn and went, come on, throw it up there a little bit.
I was there.
Yeah,
leave it up.
He undercut that slant route. That was the right read on a hot route, basically. But the veteran corner jumped it. You do that against young guys, for sure.
So 2nd and 10. Hickson will slide out in the slot to the right of Cohn. He goes down the field. No man's land. Nobody there. Picton looked behind him, and that'll bring up 3rd down at the Rider 53. And they'll have to kick it away again with Korshak.
With Jack Cohn in the game, and I'm not sure how long Corey Mace wants to leave him in. Maybe it's going to be for a few series, maybe 3rd quarter a little bit. But expect Calgary to send a ton of pressure and for the DBs to jump routes.
It's an automatic, right?
Automatic with a young guy, no question.
Peyton Logan waits back at his 10. Got a return touchdown this year. It was against Edmonton, if I recall correctly. And a step out of bounds just outside the 20. Waiting back in the studio. Halftime panel ready to roll. Kate and the guys will be recapping that wild finish from Montreal early today, in which Winnipeg wrapped up the West. And obviously the news around the league with the commissioner.
Slow news night. When the commissioner announces that he is retiring at the end of the season, or when a replacement is found. But Randy Ambrosie stepping down as commissioner of the Canadian Football League. We'll be all over that story.
Calgary on their own 21. Mills tripped up by Revis, slipped a little bit after, and he goes down after picking up a yard.
You know, that was the other sort of hitch in the schedule for these Calgary Stampeders when their star tailback and you know, arguably along with Reggie Begelton, maybe their best offensive player and athlete in Dedrick Mills, missed all those games. I mean, he missed 6 games that led right into Labor Day. And just bad timing on losing that weapon.
Outside of Begelton, their most consistent piece in the offense has been Mills. They'll go to him again, and he's going to push it ahead. He stopped short on the first down with 29 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, he missed 4 games.
If he doesn't miss those games, he's probably at 1,000.
Yeah, and leading right up to that Labor Day swing. Remember what Jake Mayer told us about the 9 interceptions in Labor Day, and they lost both games to the Edmonton Elks. And of course, that hurts even more because it's the rival. And the season went sideways from there. A lot of L's after that.
Lost all 3 to their provincial rivals this season. Grace, with time ticking down, smacks another one away. Alford will watch as this one bounces at the 44. He picks it up, nowhere to go, so he'll just take a seat just outside the 45. And that's going to do it for the first half of action. Calgary Stampeders looking for that win on the road. First of the season. They lead 14-3. Let's send it back to Kate and the panel.
In that panel is Enoch Mwamba, Jim Barker, Milt Stiegel, and we will get to the guys in just a moment, especially that earlier game, which ended in absolutely wild fashion. But first, the big news of the day, and it is the fact that Randy Ambrosie has announced his retirement in 2025, meaning that this season will be his last as the commissioner. Our Dave Naylor went to Regina today to speak with Ambrosie about his decision.
Randy, we are 3 weeks away from the Grey Cup in Vancouver. Why the decision to step down, and why the decision to announce it now?
Well, I think the decision to step down's been been in the works for a while. Scott Banda, the chairman of the board, and I, talk all the time, and really kind of looking on the horizon for some of the next big challenges, media rights, which will be our current deal with TSN and Bell expires at the end of 2026, and that's on the that's a longer term project, and then of course the next collective bargaining agreement with the players. And it just felt for me, I've been thinking about it's been now, it'll be 7.5, it'll be 8 years by the time I'm done, and it just kind of felt like the right time for me to be thinking about passing the baton to somebody else. And doing it now, because once the decision's made, it's never going to stay quiet for very long. And it's just good to get it out and put it behind us, because now what I want this next 3 weeks to be about is our players, about football, and not about some lunky commissioner.
I know there was a recent vote at the Board of Governors that suggested some thought that it was time for you to move on. How much did that factor into your decision?
For me, it's not about that. I think about this, and I think you can want to kind of make that the data point, but for me, it's about the fact that I feel great about all that we've accomplished. I feel great about my contributions to the league. I believe passionately that the league is much stronger today, the best ownership group in the league's history. Up arrows pointing on so many different things. To me, it's about a feeling good about all that's been done. It's feeling good about my relationship with Scott Banda, our board chair. It's feeling good about my relationship with the Board of Governors. And being able to leave and feel grateful for having had the opportunity to do this, that's honestly how I feel today, and that's how I want it to feel, because I think I've been one of the league's biggest cheerleaders, at least certainly by physical stats. I've been one of the biggest cheerleaders. I want to continue to be one of the league's biggest cheerleaders, and this just feels like a really good situation at a really good time.
You are one of the longest serving commissioners in the history of the Canadian Football League. What do you believe should be your legacy?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe that's for somebody else to comment on. Look, there are so many things about the last 7+ years that I think about all the time. I think about Montreal, and the challenges we had there. I think about Mr. Braley, David Braley's passing, and being able to transition that team, BC Lions, to Omar Doman. I think about what we just did with Larry Thompson. I think about the implementation of the CFL 2.0 and all the amazing global players that are playing in the league today. I think about the up arrows on all of our social statistics, social media statistics pointing way up. I think about TV viewership dramatically up in the last couple of years and how good that is. But for me, I think the legacy is that I love the job. That, if you ask me honestly what I think it is, I don't know there's going to be. I would challenge the next person to love the job as much as I have loved it.
Randy, thank you so much for your time today, and look forward to seeing you at the Grey Cup next month.
Looking forward to that as well. Thanks, Dave.
The chair of the CFL Board of Governors, Scott Banda, said in a statement, on behalf of the board, I want to thank Randy for his leadership and for providing us with as much notice as possible of his intention to retire. His willingness to stay on until his successor is named will allow for a seamless and successful transition, likely sometime in 2025. Randy has shepherded the league through some very difficult challenges, including the pandemic and leadership changes at the team level. To meet those challenges and build a stronger brand with growing fandom, a new digital marketing strategy, effective ownership, and leadership across the league, and rule and procedure changes that have delivered fun, fast, and entertaining football. It is a positive legacy indeed. Randy has built the foundation on which the league can move to the next level. All right, let's let's take it to the earlier game, and one of the wildest endings we've ever seen. Under 20 seconds to go in this punt by Montreal. It comes right back because Mother Nature, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, made a gust of wind. Sergio Castillo had already missed a field goal. He gets a second crack at a 51-yarder. This time he nails it. The Bombers were down by 2. They end up winning by 1. And with the win, they officially win the West. And, of course, they get the bye on the semifinal weekend.
Where was your head at as you were walking up to that line?
I was just grateful to have a second chance because after missing the first one, or the 61, I thought it was over, right? So the fact that, we had another shot, I was just excited. And then next thing you know, you see rain, you see everything moving. And for me, the way I see it is one of my favorite Bible verses, Galatians 6:9. It says, do not grow weary in doing good, for if you don't give up, in due time you reap a harvest, right? So as we planted the seed, we planted the work, the rain is coming. And it was just like perfect timing. God's like, hey, your harvest is coming, right? So just glad that we could come through for Winnipeg.
I mean, you could also say that the football gods played a part in that one, too, because that wind literally came out of nowhere. And that was, as we said, we were looking at the panel and we're thinking, okay, great. The second game's going to have meaning to it because the Saskatchewan Roughriders now have a shot. I mean, I couldn't even imagine being part of that Riders team who think they're going into that game and all of a sudden it's like, actually, you're not playing tonight. You're going to sit and you're going to rest. But let's just go through the end of the game. Milt, the whole game was a little bit wild. We were kind of concerned about Winnipeg not coming out as strong as we thought. But in the end, I mean, it took that for them to win it, and now they get the Western Final.
And just real quick, did you see the color of that confetti that was coming? It was Winnipeg gold, so just wanted to throw that out there. Come on, man. I just
Sergio already said God came and brought the wind for him to kick the field goal. Holy cow.
But I've never
confetti too.
I've never seen anything like that, since I've been involved with football. The fact that just as Montreal was about to punt the ball, then the wind just kicks in, and it kicked in where it was basically in Montreal's face, forcing them to punt the ball into the wind and make 15, 20 yards for the punt, and then Winnipeg capitalized on it. So, as I mentioned earlier, if Winnipeg goes on and wins the Grey Cup or make it to the Grey Cup, they're going to go back to that play because that allowed them to win the West. Let's be honest, not one play is how you're gonna win the game, but that one play definitely was the biggest play of that game, and that may help Winnipeg get to the Grey Cup.
Well, it truly was divine intervention. I mean, it came out of nowhere and completely changed not just the game, but the seasons for both of these teams. Saskatchewan should be playing right now to play for the Western Final. And for Saskatchewan in this game, an hour before kickoff, half of the guys playing didn't even know they're playing. And I think that's a real it's the preseason. We call this a glorified preseason game. This isn't even that because these guys didn't even know they were going to play, Enoch.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, I mean, you got to talk about the fact that also the Winnipeg Bombers, they did do enough to be in a situation where the wind also helped them. So they placed themselves in the right situation, and Sergio Castillo just did what he needed to do at the end of the game. And for the Riders, well, you prepare as though you're going to play, and some people got the call and told, nope, you're not playing.
Yeah, I just couldn't even imagine. But you know what? Exciting last day for sure. And now we know everything is officially set when it comes to the postseason. And next Saturday, November the 2nd, how good are these matchups? We got the Ottawa Red Blacks taking on the Toronto Argonauts. You can see that first kickoff, 3 Eastern, 12 Pacific. And then the Western semifinal. We know that these two teams played back on October the 12th. And it was all Riders at this point, but VA's made a slight difference. Will the Stamps finally get their first road win? We'll find out next.
Slight.
Stampeders leading 14-3 at the half. 2 touchdown passes for Jake Mayer, 160 yards through the air as well. And as we mentioned, they have not yet won a game on the road this season. They would love to pick one up here. The Riders hoping for a comeback in the second half to make it 5 in a row to wrap up the season for the first time since 1970. Touchdowns for Barnes and Cam Eccles. There's a look at Eccles. Jack Cohn came in at the end of the first half. And we'll keep eyes on him here in the third quarter. The Riders will get the ball to start it. A quiet evening so far for that man, Mario Alford. Let's see if he can give them some instant field position to get us started in the second half at Mosaic. Paredes hammers it away. Alford takes it at the 15. Quickly back to the 30. He picks his way out just shy of the 40. And that is where he will be stopped by Roberts.
Yeah, there's a guy in Mario Alford that is due. Maybe he'd rather hold off till next week to have that.
Save it for the big one.
Save it for the big game. Been quiet second half of the season, but important yards for these returners. We're going to have a couple of them. Terry Williams in BC, Mario Alford.
Cone in at quarterback, committed to Notre Dame to play lacrosse, and then football took him over to the University of Wisconsin. He would eventually end up back at Notre Dame, where he helped them to an 11-2 record in 2022, playing as a senior there, and set the Fiesta Bowl record for passing yards and passing touchdowns. He went for 509 and 5 touchdowns in the Fiesta Bowl.
Some amazing numbers that the quarterbacks that we see here in the Canadian Football League from their college days.
It's going to work.
That's pushing Matt Dunnigan numbers when you're up around 600 and 5 touchdowns.
Second and 6 for Cone on the run, out to his right, on the run, he throws. Nice. That's a good throw, and he finds Stearns on the far side. The best he's looked so far.
Yeah, moved outside the pocket and stepped into that throw nicely. Take a look at his form. I was going to say, it's still just, I don't know, I'm always amazed when we talk about that record of over 700 yards passing in one game. 713 yards. And I've said it a bunch of times, but Matt Dunnigan has told me he left about 150 on the field.
That's ridiculous.
Like, they missed on a couple of deep shots, so they might have had more.
Here's Cone down the field again. Nobody there on that one, and that'll bring up second.
Wow.
And 10.
That first throw was awesome. The second, kind of in between. I'm not sure if there was a communication issue. There he is. Got the rider gear on.
What would you rather wear, the hat or the hair here, right?
Yeah, I think Milt just broke a law.
Yeah, it's blasphemous.
The former Winnipeg Blue Bomber wearing rider green. Wow.
That's that AI nowadays, suits that can do anything.
Well, that noise you're hearing, that's the foam blowing up in the studio for Milt.
Cone in trouble, escapes, now he's on the run. Can he find that first down marker? He's gonna lunge ahead. He will be stopped shy, but pressure in his face immediately, and a great job to get out of there and pick up some positive yardage.
He ran the 40 in his NFL combine workout. He was under 5 flat in the 40. Went to the Colts for a bit. San Antonio Brahmas of the XFL. Bit of a long stride there.
They're going to settle for a 50-yard field goal attempt from Lawther,
who has bounced back nicely from a tough game a month and a half ago.
The 27 of his last 28. His only miss was from 60. That one is up from 50, and you can give it to him. Riders come away with some points here early in the third quarter. They trail 14-6. Well, most importantly for Jake Mary, had the lead at halftime, but he had a pretty good first half, didn't he?
Yeah, he said to Brittany, his coach has advised him to just go out in this game and sling it, have some fun, try to finish on a positive note, get that road win under their belt, at least one this season, and that's exactly what he did in the first half. He just stepped back. A lot of those throws he really couldn't even step into, but he took some shots, and they paid off.
13-18. 160, 2 touchdowns, looked after the football, starts 1st and 10 here, fakes the handoff to Mills. Now he's going to throw it in that direction, and he's got his running back for a big gain on the far sideline all the way down. just outside the 40. Biggest play of the ball game from Dedrick Mills.
And the biggest part of the play for his teammates will be the end of the play, where he does not run out of bounds, and he'll take on a rider out there. Watch this. Dedrick Mills down the sideline. Could just step out of bounds there, but nope. I could hear the bench erupt when he lowered his shoulder.
Ooh. Deontay Williams, got the worst of that one. Down to the 41. Back to Mills again. Broke a couple of tackles, not all of them though. He's eventually tracked down by DeMarcus Fields.
Deontay Williams has had some playing time. Amari Henderson, who's in that secondary for the Riders right now, has had some playing time in different spots. And, you know, that's one of the benefits of these games for teams that can change their playoff positioning is, and, you know, for Montreal, it's been almost a month of it. You get to move players around a little bit and they get more experience. So if you need them early in a playoff game, they're ready.
They need 2 more yards here. Mills turning ahead. I think he's got it. Had to get to the 31. They're going to mark him down at the 30. So job done once again for Mills. He'll head to the sideline. Catch his breath. Peyton Logan into the game on 1st and 10.
Trying to find some things this week that the Calgary Stampeders improved upon this year. One of them was their run game from a season ago when they had 6 wins.
Logan takes the ball straight up the middle. Escape from the pack, still going. And now he's going to push it ahead for a first down. What a run from the pint-sized Peyton Logan. And he picks up 14 yards at least.
Yeah, when Dedrick Mills missed those 4 games, a whole bunch of Peyton Logan there. But let's just enjoy a professional football player doing his thing, getting his pad down. Looked like it could have been a bit of a face mask there. At least it looked like it was close. And then finally, A.J. Allen brings him down.
Calgary and Jake Mayer surprisingly very efficient in the red zone all season long.
Yeah.
They'll hand it off again. And a decent enough pickup on 1st down as Mills checks back into the ball game.
Yeah, really best team, one of the best teams in the league in the red zone. One of the other ones was the Edmonton Elks.
I was just going to say, like Edmonton and Calgary are both very efficient when they got to the red zone.
Just not enough, I guess. Yeah, is the bottom line. But that's an outstanding completion or red zone efficiency percentage. They got down there enough.
Going to go 6 wide here. 4 out to the wide side right now. Mark and Michelle will slide across to the left of his quarterback. Mayer over the middle, and that ball pops out. Are they going to rule it incomplete? Yes, they will. It was the running back again, Dedrick Mills. Couldn't hang on, and they'll have to settle for a field goal attempt.
Right throw, right guy, right place. Looking for contact before the ball was secured from Dedrick Mills there.
Paredes in. Great year for kickers all around the Canadian Football League. Over 92%. You know he wasn't going to miss the 20-yarder. And Calgary leads by 11 on a beautiful late October evening at Mosaic in Regina. Orlando City will face off against Charlotte FC in the MLS 2024 Cup playoffs. Tune in tomorrow, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on TSN. Look at that little guy. He's nice and warm. I wish I could wear a onesie suits.
Yeah, you in a onesie. Mental image.
How comfortable does that guy look right now?
Yeah, well, they start him young here, don't they?
Yes.
Come on, Joe, cook his ass.
8 minutes to play here in the third. They'll go on the ground right up the middle. Good contact, pushing ahead, and a flag at the end of the play. Frankie Hickson running angry that time.
See what this penalty is. That's been something that Corey Mace has been working on all season long, is to try and eliminate penalties, especially the ones after the whistle. Different fine systems and accountability charts within their own team and their own organization, where
15-yard misconduct penalty against Saskatchewan, number 66. 15 yards from the end of the play, second down.
Jacob Brammer out of Vanderbilt.
So Jacob will either have to pay a fine or have to go on, what was that machine name?
It's a VersaClimber.
Yeah, a VersaClimber. So right on the left of your screen, you'll see Brammer. He's engaged, and here comes the shot. Boom, right there.
That'll do it. Straight to the VersaClimber with you. 2nd and 17 for Cone. He's in trouble, and he's taken down. Sambu came quick, didn't he? No time for Cone on that one.
Justin Sambu is going to get there, and I'm sure Dave Dickinson is over on the sideline going, where was that this season? That's a heck of a bull rush. Straight over Logan Ferland, who's had an outstanding year and has had to play a couple of different positions and moved to center for Peter Godber when he was injured. But that was a heck of a bull rush.
First sack of the year for Sambu, the rookie out of Baylor. 3rd and 30. Korsak, a low kick, and that will spiral out of bounds on the far sideline. And Calgary will get the ball back after Justin Sambu introduces himself to Jack Cone. Well, the final shuffling for playoff spots did not happen until game 80. It's just been that type of year here in the CFL, Suits.
Well, almost 70% of the games decided in the final 3 minutes. 31 of 80, 4 points or less, attendance up, scoring up. You know, and I think with the announcement of Randy Ambrosie deciding to retire, step down when a replacement is found, I think he can be proud of the fact that the league's in a very good place. It really is, and I think maybe the number one sort of positive from Randy Ambrosie's, the biggest one anyway, from Randy Ambrosie's tenure is the ownership group right now.
Yeah, 100%.
The ownership group, outstanding from top to bottom. Amar Doman in Vancouver has really set the bar high for the other new owners. Not that it's a competition, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But I think Randy Ambrosie can be proud of that.
2nd and 7 here for Jake Mayer on the Calgary 42. Gets that one away. Eccles reaches back for a turn. It looks like he might have a first down, but nobody's ever going to come away with all victories. And I know there'll be people listening being like, well, what about this? What about this with Randy? What about this? But you said it, and I think most people will agree. The league is in a better spot now than it was when Randy took over.
Well, I think it's in a better spot now than the over 30 years I've been in the booth, and I'd add the 11 years I was a player. And there's been some good years in there, but I think the league's in a better place now than it has been in the last 30 or 40 years. Now, there's been quite a few things, as a matter of fact, that I've disagreed with Randy Ambrosie on some of his ideas and policies and things like that, but that's going to happen, and I do admire the fact that he has pushed the elastic. He has pushed the envelope and tried to think outside the box and try some new things. And some of them haven't worked and some of them haven't helped. But like you said, the league's in a very good place. We're getting ready for some unbelievable playoff matchups. And as we showed you on that last board, The players have delivered again this year in such a big way. Look at even this final week, all the games and how close they've been right down to the wire. That Bomber-Montreal game, unbelievable.
Yeah, the other 3 games this week, all down to the final play of the game. Here's a completion, far side, middlemost will turn it upfield and pick up the first down for Mayer and the Stampeders.
So just in wrapping that up, I would say a big thank you to Randy Ambrosie for his 7 years leading and the captain of the ship. And I know there'll be forensics, and there's going to be, a whole breakdown over the next sort of month or so, but final 3 minutes in Canadian football is the best 3 minutes in sport.
Yeah, I don't, that's undebatable in my opinion. I don't see what would even push close to that, as they'll hand it off here. A 3-yard pickup. Big workload tonight for that man, Dedrick Mills. 15th carry of the ball game.
And what happens in Calgary this offseason? I mean, I don't want to go past the playoffs, but
yeah,
for one of the teams that aren't going to be involved in the playoffs, it's going to happen quickly. Usually teams that don't make it will wait until after the Grey Cup to not be a distraction and try to steal headlines, but got to make some decisions quickly in Edmonton, Calgary, for sure.
Here's Mayer on the run to his left. He's going to keep it. Pushing ahead, very close to the first down. I think he's got it. Where they've spotted him at the 34. That might be enough.
That's the 9th run of the season for Jake Mayer.
He doesn't do it often. A little bit of a hezzy on his way over to the sideline there, too.
That got him the extra one.
Well, Dave Dickinson's had a lot on his plate this year, and that'll be one of the things discussed.
Yeah, everything will be scrutinized. Everything will be examined. Changes will be made. I mean, changes are made on teams that make it to the playoffs, but especially when, you look back at last year and 6 wins, and this year 4, possibly 5 if they can finish this game off. But what happens with Dave Dickinson? I do know if the Stampeder organization feels like they want to move on and make a change there, it won't be long before Dave Dickinson is hired again. Yeah. If that happens, I'm not saying it will. I'm just saying if it did, he wouldn't be on the market long.
7 yards for Logan. They'll go back to him again. That ball pops out, scooped up by the Riders, and they take it away again. The far and away turnover leaders in the Canadian Football League steal another one out of the hands of Logan. Trevor Harris watching his backups get some action, and he shared his thoughts on what it's like for them to play in these games with Bridport.
Well, he told me it reminded him of a game from 2012 when he and Zach Collaros were backup quarterbacks with the Toronto Argonauts. Now, they had already clinched a playoff spot, but the final game of the year was versus Hamilton, who needed a win to get in. The Argos played basically all of their backups and still won that game and prevented Hamilton from finding a spot in the postseason. And he told me it's because we had such a winning mindset on the team. It didn't matter who played. And he told me this week, too, I'm going to go out there and tell Shea Patterson, Jack Cohn, go out and prove ourselves and prove that we are a winning team no matter who takes to the field, guys.
Yeah, keep that standard.
Yep.
You're on the roster. You've made the team.
You've been there all year.
Practiced all year. Working reps for the scout team. You get a chance to play. Prove that it was a good decision to keep you on the team. Not to mention, your resume is the game tape or video or whatever you want to call it now.
They'll hand it off to Hickson, nowhere to go. Bailey Devine Scott ended up wrapping him up around the knees.
So the matchup against the BC Lions defense. Can the Saskatchewan Roughriders control the line of scrimmage with a solid ground game to help Trevor Harris and get into second and manageable situations? BC this year has struggled against the run.
Yeah, I think that would be the biggest concern for Lions fans right now. Tight window there, and that is batted down. Devine Scott in on the play.
The whole Vernon Adams story is intriguing coming into this game, and his final game of the regular season last week. I mean, he's capable of throwing it around the yard for 300 or 400, and if that happens, well, if that happens, you're going to lose your voice.
It's funny because I was just about to say, well, I'm going to freak out if we get a 35-35 playoff game in Mosaic here next week.
Well, hey, these two teams, that's the type of games they played this year.
There will be points scored aplenty a week from today between the Lions and the Riders here in Mosaic. Logan on the return, and he's taken down on the near sideline. Well, get ready for Sunday Night Football as the Cowboys take on the Niners. Tune in tomorrow. That'll be 8:20 Eastern, 5:20 Pacific on TSN. That's two teams right there looking to jumpstart their seasons a bit. Cowboys are always disappointing. The Niners a little disappointing to start this year as well. Banged up for sure, though. Jake Mayer over 200 yards, 16 to 22. Couple of touchdowns as well. Starts this drive on his own 31. Time in the pocket. Now he's out on the run to his right near sideline. And he finds Philpott, who came back to help his quarterback. And he hangs on to it.
Right on 15. Really good protection up front. And Jake Mayer just decides he doesn't like the curl and wanted a little bit more. He looks to his left there first, didn't like the curl, didn't like Cam Eccles sitting down at 5 yards, so he goes to 9 yards on the out with a nice throw on the run.
Tommy Stevens into the game for the first time today, trying to push ahead. Might have been denied. Not much of a forward push. Third down and do it again here. So depend on the spot here. Stevens is walking off. And he'll come back to try it one more time.
A little extra encouragement there from Coach Dickinson. Go get this. Yard or inch and a half.
Tommy Stevens, 10 rushing touchdowns this season. We know he can finish. Can he pick up third and inches here? Pushing it ahead. This time he's got it. He'll eventually drive him back, but he picks up the first down. Calgary Stampeders are 1 quarter away from wrapping up possibly their first road win of the season. Final quarter of the regular season in the CFL. On the way next. 17-6, Calgary leading on the road here against the Riders. 1 quarter left in the regular season. The playoffs loom in the Canadian Football League, but it's been a heck of a year, hasn't it?
It's been a great year, and a year where the players have really delivered, but it's a chance to wrap up the regular season for us to thank all of the crew at TSN on behalf of all the guys in the booth, camera guys. I'm not going to name any of them because I'll miss them,
yes.
But they know, camera guys, ISO directors, producers, all the crew that all the travel, back-to-back games, and travel is an adventure, as you know, at the best of times. But thank you to all the crews. Great job of presenting Canadian football, to all the crew members and guys that put their heart and soul into it.
I'll be honest here, I've been doing this for 5 years. I still don't technically know what everybody does. I know a lot of people, but I still, what exactly is your job? Here's a deep shot down to the 30, wide open. Markham is Michel cuts it in at the 20, down to the 10. See you later, he's gone. Markin Michel starts the fourth quarter with a bang, and the Stampeders blow it wide open.
Touchdown, Stampeders.
Wide open is the right description for this one, and Jake Mayer, another touchdown throw tonight. Again, just sort of releasing it without really stepping into it, but just a wide open in the seam. Markin Michel and Dave Dickinson over there. Is that the first smile? I think that is the first smile from Dave Dickinson in the 2024 season.
I was wondering if you were going to say season, because if you didn't, I was.
What are you talking about?
Markin Michel's second catch of the ball game. His team leading 6th touchdown of this season. 79-yard drive completed in less than 90 seconds.
And this is the influence of a Reggie Begelton in your lineup. Begelton is coming in waggle motion, and Markin Michel is going to be the deep route here. But watch how Reggie Begelton draws the attention of the DBs. Look at 2 guys jump up, and Markin Michel in behind coverage.
Cuts it back, takes it the rest of the way, almost caught at the end, got away. His longest play of the year was 27 yards prior to that. This touchdown goes for 67.
Let's take a look, because I think it's the first one this season. Look at, there it is. First one this season from Dave Dickinson. Win your last game, no matter where you are.
Rich over there. I done gave him all my money. Thank you.
Well, Jake Mayer, 284, 3 touchdowns. As he said, you know, I just want to get out there, start another game for this team. And he enjoys winning here at Mosaic, where he plays extremely well. Alford will take it again, just inside his own 15. Cuts it back, trying to find a head of steam. Blocks aren't there, and he'll be taken down around the 45. And now let's throw it to the weather with Trevor Harris and Samuel Emlis.
And we're here giving you guys your live weather here. As you see, we've got 2 degrees. For you Americans out there that don't know what that means, double it and add 30.
We got at 6 p.m. it might get a little snow. Is that what it says?
No. If you see blue up there, it means snow. Regina today, up to 22 degrees. Somewhere along the line, we're going to have 19 degrees show up. Oh, game day forecast, 100% chance of us sending it on Calgary Stampeders, all right? Come out to Mosaic, watch the show. It's going to be a great one.
Now, he did say 100% chance of sending it against the Stamps, but Harris isn't playing today, so I'll give him the pass on that one.
No, and you know, Trevor has got to go in the TV business, got to understand that you don't want to ever let the facts that it was only it was 22 degrees and not 19. Just change the number.
Yeah. Let's be honest. Weather guys can say whatever they want.
Yeah, that's fun. A little fun in the community.
It's during the bye week.
CTV Regina.
Jack Cohn, the keeper. Gonna be enough for a first down. Well, Trevor Harris, I mean, he's done some incredible things throughout his career, and putting together another great season here. Wherever he has gone, he has moved the football.
Well, the only quarterback in CFL history, look at that bottom line, with 4,500 plus on 5 different teams. You know, and you know, there's some quarterbacks, you know, great quarterbacks that are good against man. Some are great against zone. Some are, you know, great against pressure or real athletic. I think Trevor has a little bit of all of it in his game. And, I mean, he's not a runner. He's a pocket guy. But I think of that BC game a week ago, an important one for the Bombers to keep their first place hope alive, or sorry, the Riders to. And Trevor, you know, I saw Ryan Phillips throw some man at him. I saw him throw some zone at him, and it didn't matter. He just dissected that defense. Now he had the time to do it too. The offensive line was giving him time.
how much you're going to read into that game as we prep for the game next week. The playoffs are a bit of a different animal, but still, that was a pretty impressive performance.
No question. And balance, 84 yards rushing for A.J. Ouellette, really his first game back. Again, that's I think, a priority, as you said, for the Lions. Getting ready for that one is to make sure they're good on first down on defense, for sure. And then, the way that game unfolded and how the control I thought that Trevor Harris had, I think Ryan Phillips in BC might have to get exotic. I mean, he might have to start drawing up some crazy blitzes and see if he can't make them hold the ball for a split second longer and one of his blitzers can get there. I mean, we'll see. It'll be quite the chess match in a week.
2nd and 10 for Jack Cohn out of the University of Notre Dame. Looks to his left, pressured, dumps it off, and that falls incomplete. He was feeling the heat, tried to find Hickson, and Hickson couldn't come up with it.
Another great matchup for the playoff game in the West is going to be, Vernon Adams and Justin McInnis. Again, another great highlight of this season. Justin McInnis and Brady Oliveira, 2 Canadians leading in their categories, receiver and running back. But Justin McInnis versus Roland Milligan.
Trevor Harris in that game against BC was 25 of 30, 271 yards and a couple of tiny touchdowns. Logan turns it back up the far sideline. Nothing opens up, and he'll be forced out of bounds. Mosaic Stadium hosting the West Semi next Saturday.
I hear you, Morgan. And man made a bar. That's one of his songs.
That's one of his songs. I was going to say, does that guy need more promo? He's all over the place. Smash hit after smash hit. That 1-2 with Post Malone. That's out right now. Handed off to Mills on first down. We'll give him 3.
Yeah, it's a good question you had earlier about, how much do you read into that game last week for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, but how much do you read into this game for the Saskatchewan Roughriders? And you really can't. So you want the good news and bad news in that regard?
Yes, give it to me.
Okay. If you're a Rider fan, the good news is that Corey Mace has a lot of young players out there. A lot of his star players. His horses are in the stable right now. That's the good news. So I got more good news.
Okay.
More good news for Rider fans is this team before this game, when they played a lot of different players, were on a 4-game win streak. So that's something that they can continue to believe in the process. It's good. And now, do you want the bad news?
I'm trying to think what the bad news could be. Give it to me.
Well, the previous 4 games, the last 4 games that they won were Calgary, Ottawa, Edmonton, and BC. BC and Ottawa struggling a little bit, and again, Rider fans are going to get mad here, but BC and Ottawa struggle a little bit. Calgary and Edmonton out of the playoffs. The 4 games previous to that, they lost versus Montreal, Toronto, Winnipeg, and Winnipeg.
So you're looking at the schedule.
So you're adding all of that stuff up.
But those were close games, right? They lost by 3 to Montreal.
Yeah.
Lost by 1 to Toronto. Lost by 2 to Winnipeg. And then lost by 5 to Winnipeg. So it's what a stretch right in the middle of the season. Started very well, going to finish very well. 4-1 in their last 5. The middle stretch really took them out of. They win 2 of those games. They have the division sealed up already.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
But you make a good point. You make a good point on the different level of opposition on the 4 losses and then the 4 most recent wins.
Yeah, and there's no easy wins. So it's even though Edmonton and Calgary were out of the playoffs, those were, and Ottawa and BC have been struggling. Those were still harder wins, and it's hard to win, especially this year. There's been such great parity. Every team has sort of gone through a low point and a high point, and kind of a 500 season almost outside of Montreal.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. There's pressure, and there's taken down Had no time on that one. Dalkey gets there, his first sack of the season. BC started very well, then went into a major slump. Winnipeg started horribly, then got red hot. Yep. The Riders started well, struggled in the middle, and then obviously turned it around.
The young safety got a chance to play a little bit, getting a sack. That's always fun. A DB getting a sack. I mean, it's not as good as an interception, but it's a close second. Because the quarterbacks you're always messing with, trying to get in their heads. You don't ever get a chance to get after them.
So when you get set free, you really want to finish it.
You want to get there. That's why often a DB on a blitz is offside.
Alford, they'll try to track him down from behind, gets a block, turns it upfield at the 50. There's a flag in the middle of the field as he cuts it down to the 35, but some laundry in the middle of the field, and we'll sort that out when we return to Mosaic. Jaden Dalkey gets home to the quarterback for the first time this season. Welcome back to Mosaic. The return will stand. There's a flag against Calgary. Here's a look at the East semifinal head-to-head action between the Red Blacks and the Argos.
Well, you take a look at that. You've got Ottawa winning that first game back in September and October. The Argos and the one possession game there. So again, it goes to that parity that you have to go out and earn it every night. Drew Brown back and healthy.
Webb had a couple of pick sixes in that game. Now towards the end zone, and they're in. Touchdown, Riders. Jared Stearns, and you know what? That's his first of the season. And it comes midway through the fourth quarter of the final game. And Jack Cohn has his first CFL passing major.
You know, and sometimes the athlete gets in his head that once you get the first one, we talked about it earlier, once you get the first one, that they maybe come in bunches. And so this is a big touchdown for Jared Stearns. Gets that first one, you can see the celebration. This wasn't a game that didn't matter in the standings for him, and that play, he went in there, scored, and now he's thinking to himself, okay, yeah, I can build on that. BC comes to town, getting that end zone again.
Stearns, 55 yards today, has him about 25 yards shy of a 500-yard season. And it's kind of an in-and-out utility guy. They'll go for two here. Calgary's going to show some pressure. Now they'll bring it. Cohn gets it away. It's batted down by Alway at the edge of the end zone. The lead remains 12. Jareth Stearns to the end zone for the first time this season.
Well, we talked about Mario Alford being due and maybe wanting to save it for the playoff game, but he, you know, this is a guy that can break a game wide open in the playoffs, and he sets up great field position. Jareth Stearns with his first touchdown of the season from Jack Cohn. Not sure you could have predicted that combination, but nevertheless, important one for him.
Congratulations to anybody who had the Jack Cohn passing touchdown to Jareth Stearns parlay on their ticket tonight. You're a millionaire. Logan on the return, broke a tackle. Look at those legs. He keeps going out the 50. Spin move to midfield. A flag comes out at the end of that return, and we'll see which way this one's going.
Well, that'll be against the Riders. Be a horse collar, even though it didn't bring them down. It was from behind, but yeah. So matchups between the Riders and the BC Lions again.
A little bit of a discussion here.
Unnecessary roughness. Horse collar tackle. Saskatchewan. Number 95. 15 yards from the end of the play. First down.
Nice return by Peyton Logan, and this is the correct call because you don't have to actually pull the player down. If you grab the nameplate, the shoulder pad, the jersey from behind, that can cause injuries. That's why that rule is in effect, and that will tack on Extra penalty yards after the return. A nice one by Peyton Logan.
They start this drive at the Rider 38. Mayer hands it off to Mills, trying to find a hole, and he's tracked down from behind by Dalkey.
So back to that matchup, BC Sask in the semifinal. Game 1 was a 35-20. That was where Justin McInnes went off. Now the starting quarterback in that game was Vernon Adams.
And he's back.
Back in July. October, a week ago, it wasn't close. I would suggest maybe worst outing for the Lions all season.
Second and 7 from the 35 for Mayer. Steps up on the run. Thought about sending it deep, spins it ahead, and he'll be close to a first down on the ground again for Jake. It is a first down. Dalkey with the tackle.
So both the East and the West semifinal, the 4 teams split in the regular season. So that's, again, when you're trying to figure these out. That's why I don't know how the odds makers do it. You know what? It's so close.
and they usually are very accurate with it. It's some sort of voodoo.
I don't get it, man.
High snap. Mayer hauls it in, hands it off to Mills. But Dalkey is there again. That's about 4 plays in a row Dalkey has been involved. Former University of Alberta Golden Bear.
They got some starts last year. Had some penalty issues on the teams early in the season, but fixed that issue.
Well, he's all smiles right now. Loss of 1 on that play. He's got 5 tackles and a sack here tonight. Second and long for Mayer. They're going to bring some pressure again. Mayer to the end zone, lays it up there, almost intercepted. Friendly fire. Fields on Yeka. Both of them come together and neither can hang on.
Yeah, we're going deep into the depth chart. Onyeka, well, they're both going for it. I mean, they didn't even see each other going after that one. And Dalkey was going on the blitz. He snuck up there and thought he was going to get home one more time, but he gets picked up that time by Dedrick Mills.
Paredes back to work. And that one is up, and it is good from 37 yards. And Calgary once again leads by 15 points with less than 4 minutes to go. And barring a huge collapse, Dave Dickinson will wrap up the season with a 1 in the road win column.
Which really means that Dave Dickinson and the entire team and probably organization will be able to get a little bit of sleep in the offseason. Because when you lose your last game, you don't make the playoffs and you lose your last game, and I've been there, you don't sleep in the offseason. It's awful. It's awful. It's 6 months of training to a point of cracking because you want to be better. You know, just your ornery. It helps. Even if you don't make the playoffs, and people remind you don't make it, but it just feels that winning again feels just a little bit better. You get some sleep.
Julian Hauser, 5th sack of the season, a loss of 3.
I've often said to my hockey beer league buddies when we're sitting in the locker room, doesn't the beer taste a little bit better when we
Timeout, Saskatchewan.
You know, when you win, the beer is just a little bit better tasting.
You know what? I'll say it is a little bit better tasting. But even after a rec league loss, the beer still tastes pretty good.
I didn't say it wasn't after a loss.
Yeah.
I just said it just tastes a little bit better when you win.
Timer, please reset the clock to 3:36. Thank you.
Or beverage if you're playing minor hockey.
Well, that too. Yeah. I had 2 kids playing minor hockey at home today.
Or minor football, or whatever it may be.
Second and long for Coney. 6 of 12, 64 yards and a touchdown. Came in late in the second quarter for Shea Patterson. Under pressure again, trying to get away. Throws that ball in time. It was Roughriders this time, who is fired up here late in the season.
You see, he's frustrating season, and when you can make those plays and get home.
Yeah, he looks angry.
Yeah, but James Roughriders and James Roughriders, Mike Rose, Julian Hauser, quite honestly, pedestrian type seasons.
For what you expect from those guys.
Yeah, the bar is set so high for those 3, and it just didn't happen for him this year. It just was, and that's the frustration that comes out when you know you're better than what happened throughout the season. You're thinking you don't get them back either.
Well, that was one of the things that came up on our chat earlier in the week with the members of the Calgary Stampeders. I can't remember if it's Jake or somebody said, I just don't know if we improved enough during the year, right?
Yeah.
Because they started 4-4, and he said CFL's tough because teams get better.
Yeah.
And I'm just not sure if we improved enough throughout the season, which is a fair assessment, I think, of the group.
No question. And when you're looking at stars like Mike Rose, and they are underachieving, I mean, the 2 corners, Demario Houston and Trey Roberson, they play better now. In the last few games, in the last month, they played a lot better, but Demario Houston went through some ups and downs and had an ankle injury in there that affected his confidence, but yeah.
Well, we've hit 3 minutes here in Regina. The flea flicker to nowhere. Sack for Marion. Well, Corey Mace, in his first season as Riders head coach, is going to have them in the postseason. Got to be happy with that.
Well, it goes back to how he got the job in the first place, and it was basically demanding it.
Yeah.
Sitting in his interviews saying, I want this job. And the Riders did their due diligence. They talked to a lot of different people, and it was just, he jumped off the page in the interview with the passion and how much he wanted it.
We were talking about his interview with him this week, and Roland Milligan actually brought it up. We were talking about their turnover situation, and Milligan just quickly mentioned, we have an obsession for possession. And then when we chatted with Corey, I asked him, I said, hey, where'd that come from? And he said, I actually used obsession for possession in his pitch during the interview. He said, this is going to be our mindset. And I said, congratulations, it got you the job, because it's a terrific slogan. And when you're a team that has run away in the turnover battle with the rest of the league this year, I mean, it seems like, they're practicing what they're preaching, essentially.
Well, and walking it like they talked. Yeah, exactly what he did.
15-yard misconduct penalty against Calgary, number 54. 15-yard penalty from the end of the play, 3rd down.
Not to mention, and the coaching staffs across the league have been outstanding. We get to talk to them on a weekly basis, and first of all, thanks to all the coaches and players throughout the regular season who spent some time to give us as much help and information as they can give us, and they're always upfront and honest. Corey Mace has been outstanding. Jeremy O'Day, VP of Football Operations and the general manager of this team, has made a real good hire. I mean, he has been an absolute favorite to talk to week in and week out.
Seems as though that one popped off of a rider, I believe. There's a flag, though. Looked like it was touched by the Riders. Nick Stats ends up coming up with it. But it does seem You know, we talk a lot about culture with teams, and there's been a lot of that with Winnipeg. And look what it's helped there. O'Shea came in, had some tough years. Got the culture of the Bombers with the help of Big Hill and Jefferson and those guys. But it does sense for those of us, you know, watching the Riders on a regular basis and chatting with Corey and
No
chatting
yards.
with the guys who
Calgary, number 42, 15-yard penalty, first down.
Chatting with the guys who play for him. There's a different feel around this team this year.
Well, yeah, and when you have leadership, sometimes by example, like Roland Milligan leads, sometimes Jameer Thurman will be very vocal from the middle of their defense. You know, Trevor Harris, who, no matter what is going on around him, is cool as a cucumber in there. I mean, I've never used that saying, but he's like ice in his veins no matter what.
You were just saving cool as a cucumber for the final game of the year.
Thank you. But yeah, no, and he is building the culture, and they're not quite there yet. I think, you know, it's still a work in progress, and you're not gonna move mountains in year one, but you just keep moving forward, and that's what they're doing. They've made the playoffs, and not only that, they got a home playoff game.
Well, it's funny you mention that, because I look up at that 2013 here at Mosaic, the championship. That year they hosted BC in the West semifinal, and this year they'll host BC in the West semifinal. If you believe in things that happened in the past, meaning anything for what's going to happen next week. They use that momentum to roll over Calgary.
Great leadership. Now, when we get to the playoffs, discipline, discipline, discipline. So important. Assignment, alignment, execution. So important. The Lions are already studying video.
Cone gets that one away, and that'll be a first down.
They were studying video 3 hours ago in Winnipeg.
As soon as that ended.
Yeah.
What a finish that was. There was a good buzz in the stadium here when
Timer,
watching that game.
please reset the clock to 2 minutes, 1 second. 2:01.
Yeah, that was all eyes on that first game here in Saskatchewan.
We'll toss 8 seconds back on the clock, which will now tick back under 2. Cone near sideline. Dropped it in there, but drew the receiver out of bounds. Would have been a tough catch there for Del Duncan Busby. Jack Cone getting his first taste of the Canadian Football League tonight. That's a touchdown to show for it.
Well, you know, you hate to lose no matter what, and Saskatchewan will hate to lose this game. But to go back to that conversation we were having about how much you read into this, you don't. You just don't. And I'm not sure. I mean, last week there was more on the line between BC and Saskatchewan, so a little more there.
Yeah.
You know, but it's like when you're talking about Montreal. Montreal took the Bombers right to the wire tonight, and you know, when you look at their last 4 weeks where they have locked up first place already, I wouldn't weigh too heavy on those ones either.
Cone with a couple of completions. That last one into a tight window to Jared Stearns, and now he's got another one, and that'll be a first down against this Calgary defense.
You know, I think we've talked about it before, but in sport, especially the professional level.
Here's Cone in trouble, gets it away.
Especially at the professional level, in any sport really, there's a different level of intensity between the playoffs and the regular season. And you could say to a professional athlete, well, why don't you play at that level in the regular season? But it's not just a switch. Until it is the playoffs, until you know You're preparing for a do or die.
If you don't win, you're done.
You're done. Game's over. Season's over.
That's what really drives that.
And that is where the intensity comes organically. And I don't think you can manufacture it. You know, there's rivalry games and things like that, but and the guys, it's not a conscious thing. Like, they're not playing less hard now. They're just, you just get elevated. It's amazing how quickly the playoff games go by. It's amazing how intense and physical they are. And because of that increase in intensity, that's where the discipline in football comes in, and that's where it's so important. Don't make that extra push after the whistle blows. Those kind of things.
3rd and 6 for Cone. Dumps it off over the middle, looking for his running back, Frankie Hickson. And no flags on the field. That'll be a turnover on downs with 1:11 left as the crowd at Mosaic will head toward the exits, knowing that they will be back for a jam-packed party next Saturday against the BC Lions. If there's one place in this province to be, next week it's in Pill Country right over there. That's going to be a good time.
Yeah, we're not allowed over there, but
neither are these two guys. Not yet, but one day.
See, when you're at a Rider game at that age, you are a Rider fan forever.
Jake Mayer, wire to wire for the Stampeders tonight. Here's Mills, busts it out and off to the races he goes. Up to the 50, Dedrick Mills. This will be a finish to the season as he puts on the brakes, spins it back, and is taken down inside the 40. That'll put him over 100 yards on the ground in the season finale.
Well, we'll just quickly wrap up Calgary's season, and you know, this will feel better. It'll make it feel a little bit better, but we will see change in Calgary. How deep that goes, to what level it goes, remains to be seen. But this is a 5-win team coming off a 6-win season 2 years ago. That's just not good enough at the level that they're playing, and
especially the standard that they've had for so long, right?
No question. Of the non-playoff teams, as I said last night, I still, if they can keep the core together and figure out what they're going to do at quarterback. I know there's lots of decisions, but I really like a lot of the core players in Edmonton. I really do. I just think if we moved the non-playoff teams to start right now in a new year, I'd put my money on Edmonton to get off to a fast start. Yeah.
Well,
but they need to figure out the quarterback. I mean, which direction are they going to go there?
Getting off to a fast start would be very rare in Edmonton over the last few years. They haven't gotten off to any starts.
No, I hear you, but I'm just talking about looking at the players, looking at the roster.
Victory formation for the Calgary Stampeders. And a late flag. How about Baldonado going, what?
But this is what I'm talking about, and I guarantee you that this is nothing, game's over, whatever. Yeah. But Corey Mace will bring this up. I bet you he brings this up and says, guys, there cannot be any thought of that push after the
15-yard misconduct penalty, Saskatchewan, number 95. First down.
If you get that penalty in a playoff game, it is over. You can lose it right there.
Now, we've seen that.
Oh, absolutely. Every play matters. And that just, and I, you know, different scenario, of course, but I just, practice makes perfect, and those reps of not doing it, maintaining your discipline. We've all been there. You lose your cool, take a shot at somebody after the whistle. He's on the stair climber. What is it called?
Versa climber.
Versa climber.
Yeah, I know. I've been looking into one myself.
I don't know, man.
I was kidding. You know, I don't love these jerseys as a play-by-play guy, but I love the helmets the Riders are wearing tonight. Those look sharp. Helmets look good on the Riders tonight.
Well, the whole uniform, other than us having,
I mean, from where we're at, the green on green doesn't really work for
hard,
the booth, but
yeah, I know they're selling them, and a ton of them, and they are cool.
And that'll do it on the season for the Calgary Stampeders. and they do avoid a winless year on the road. Jake Mayer leads them to a victory. Their one victory away from home this season.
And we are getting ready for some playoff football in the upcoming week. Ottawa and Toronto, great matchup out east. And the BC Lions, led by Vernon Adams, the starting quarterback in BC, will come here to Saskatchewan next weekend.
Cannot wait for the Lions and Riders next Saturday right here at Mosaic. Myself and Glenn Suter will be back here for that one, and we will get a healthy Trevor Harris, who's been excellent since returning from injury. That man, Roland Milligan, could be the MOP on the season. He will be good to go next week as well. And as Glenn mentioned, Vernon Adams Jr. has his team back for the BC Lions. Can they come out here to Mosaic and book a ticket to the West Final at Princess Auto Stadium in Winnipeg? 27-12 the final. Stampeders put out of their misery. The Riders moving on to the postseason.